Hello, everyone, and welcome to Brothers Podcast Ponderings for the second video of my film review series. And this time I did World's Strongest. Now, my notes for this one is double the length of the last one, with 10 pages to talk through. But again, at the end, I'll give you my rating. I'll talk through what happened in the film. I might bring up some opinions here and there on what I thought was different, or what I preferred, what I didn't like as much. First thing I'll say is this film does not make as much sense on the timeline as the other one, Dead Zone. It's not as straightforward. I'll say more as we get into it, because there's a bit of things where I'll actually comment where it doesn't make sense. There's also character that I prefer. I think Goku's character is better in this one, better represented. I think Gohan's is the same. Piccolo's is the same. Everyone else is the same. But obviously, last time Goku's was better. So let's get on with it. This film seems to recreate the Saiyan arc. Pretty obvious, to be fair, but thought I'd mention that. So again, like the last one, it opens with Piccolo, but unlike the last one, he's not screaming. He's just destroying icebergs. Pretty effective way of reminding people how strong Piccolo is what I thought was a good representation of power, and good representation of how strong the ice was, as Piccolo does it for training, and even says it's like a difficult bit of training to do, and he's actually struggling to do it. And considering this, Piccolo is probably about the strength, well, he's definitely stronger than Raditz, but he's at least half of Nappa, and this is where the issues then come in, because if it's after the Saiyan saga, Piccolo's dead, and Goku should be in the hospital. It's a whole thing, but I don't know what went on in that version of the Saiyan arc. But then I'll continue, and this is why this will become an issue. But anyways, after that scene, it shows a scene of Dr. Wheelo's brain, which was during the part where Piccolo was struggling to destroy the ice. They do this a couple times. I don't mention it in my notes all the time, so just remember it happens on and off. It's basically just to build tension. I didn't think it was that good, though. It was come on. But again, it's good to keep in mind, by this point, Piccolo was much stronger than Golok Jr., because Golok Jr., as I said in the last video, is probably around a power level of 800, roughly. If Piccolo's around 2000 power level, or close to that, there is no way Golok Jr. could beat that, and so we see how strong the cast is by this point. It's a bit ridiculous, to be fair. But anyways, after this, the film then cuts to the Dragon Radar, introducing Oolong and Gohan, which I thought was a pretty good way of introducing it, giving exposition on how the Dragon Balls have been collected quickly and effectively by an unknown source. This was a much better. So in Golok Jr., I commented how it didn't really make sense how everyone seemed to know everywhere where Golok Jr. was. It didn't really have much of a setup. This one has a much better setup. This film takes a lot more time to explain how people know where things are, what's going on. It's a lot better for that. Still doesn't make much sense in the timeline, though, which is my grievance with this film. Gohan and Oolong need to try and find the last Dragon Ball to try and stop this mysterious person from making their wish, wanting to make their own wish. But this also allows Gohan and Oolong to be in the same place as Piccolo. Again, very well planned. Well, not very well, not extremely well, but it's just better planning than what Dead Zone had, and it was very refreshing to see this actual planning take place, and this good writing was actually happening. Oolong is very openly wanting to steal the wish for himself, revealing he stole the Dragon Radar from Bulma, and he brought Gohan for some protection, possibly aid, in case it's somewhere that he can't get to. But when Gohan asks what he wants to wish for, It then cuts back to OG Dragon Ball when Oolong made his last wish, starting to giggle, which it's like, yeah, okay, we get what he's going to wish for. By the way, smudges on my hands. I'm left-handed. The smudges from writing so much. I literally just came back from writing the entire thing because I ended up really busy yesterday, unable to write it. So I've wrote it and recording it today. But by the time Oolong's laughing, it's already too late, as the mysterious, now seen old man has collected all 7 Dragon Balls and is ready to make a wish, being the second Dragon Ball villain in movies to gain a wish, 3rd overall with Demon King Piccolo. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think any other villain managed to make that wish. So that's pretty good. Bit boring though. The first film had the surprise factor for it because it hadn't really been done other than Demon King Piccolo. This one straight after that, it's come on, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of repeating a little bit. Bit lazy, but again, it's a different wish. It's still, you're intrigued as to what he's wanting to wish for, since clearly it's not immortality. But Shenron appears and the old man wishes for Dr. Wheelo's lab to be freed from the ice. As seen earlier, Piccolo couldn't even destroy the ice, so it's a good reason as to why he would make the Dragon Balls the second strongest on Earth. Can't even do it. Obviously, the dragon grants the wish, but that then allows him to access Wheelo's lab, possibly get in contact with Wheelo. Bit confusing though, because there's backstory there where they're together in the ice. So how did he get out? It's just there. How did he get out? I have no idea. Then again shows the giant brain as the old man celebrates seeing the lab free. Finally, because obviously it's clearly been years. But again, doesn't make sense as he was clearly with Wheelo previously. And when the avalanche happened, because it's revealed it's an avalanche, it really just does not make sense as to how he's out there. But after that scene, sorry, I've just seen in my notes, I've put a very epileptic title comes up for the film. It's literally flashing black and white, and it's, for any epileptic person, do not watch that film. I don't know if it's safe to see that, because like, it was hurting my eyes. I'm not even epileptic, but it hurt my eyes. So just a warning for anyone who wants to watch that film, skip the title. And you now know what scene it comes after. It's after he gets the wish. So Gohan and Oolong see the lab building as they are ambushed by what I'm calling Biomen. They just look like Cybermen, but you know, they're Biomen. Obviously copying the Saiyan arc. Bit less original sort of designs this time. Bit disappointing, just sort of copying the Saiyan arc as much as possible. But oh well. They take advantage of the surprise. Gohan and Oolong, mainly Gohan, is attacked back. But Piccolo arrives to save them. Aura farming again, because he loves to aura farm. We love that man. Fighting all 4 at once and annihilating one completely whilst beating the other 3. Though I believe when later on the 4th one reappears. Yeah, it does. So that doesn't really make much sense under what happened. Well, they probably just recreated that one. So that's alright. Piccolo's then sees these 3 bio warriors, or senses them. It's not really shown too much what if he saw them or sensed them. It's imagined sensing, as a beam then entraps him, as Gohan and Oolong then fall away through the collapse of the ice. His fate, Piccolo's fate, is left unknown. Oolong and Gohan decide, to go on with their lives, believing Piccolo had saved them, and not to mention what happened, because they don't want, Gohan doesn't want Chi-Chi to get mad, and Oolong does not want Bulma to get mad. Goku again demonstrates being a good father, as although Chi-Chi's worrying about Gohan and wants to pressure him into telling them what happened. Goku's saying as long as he's happy, let him be who he wants to be. Like, he's being quite nice and understanding in that moment. Gohan, while studying, falls asleep, and sort of receives a vision in his dream of Piccolo, and it then does that flashback of Piccolo's sacrifice in the Saiyan Saga, which is what I was going to say. So if he's still sacrificed himself in the Saiyan Saga, he should still be dead. When is this film meant to be set? Like, it really doesn't make sense. They couldn't have been to Namek already because Goku doesn't have Super Saiyan. Vegeta isn't there. Like, it really just doesn't make sense. But anyways, this sort of idea that Piccolo's in trouble is clearly in the real heart of this dream. He then wakes up. Chi-Chi's still worrying about him. It then cuts to Oolong cooking. Bulma in end of Dragon Ball outfit, which again doesn't make sense. If it's in the Saiyan Saga, she shouldn't have the haircut or the clothes of end of Dragon Ball, yet she does. That doesn't make sense for the timing of things. Again, because Goku has Kaioken, so it can't have been at that point in time. Oh well, it was a design choice, clearly. But Oolong's basically just getting punished for stealing the Dragon Balls. Bulma makes a joke about making takeout because Oolong's that terrible at cooking. The doorbell rings because they're at Master Roshi's place, with the Biomen looking for Master Roshi, who comes out of it in his Jackie Chan outfit, which makes a bit more sense. Not too much, but more sense. Obviously, he has very limited clothes. He tends to wear the normal ones with the orange and purple pants. But again, it's not too much of a stretch to imagine he just put on the Jackie Chan clothes ready to fight. The Biomen want to take him to Dr. Wheelo. Roshi refuses and puts up a great fight against the Biomen, by the way. Like, considering Piccolo and how strong he is, again, this doesn't really make sense, but Roshi defeats them all pretty easily. Which, I guess, I can't argue too much because in Dragon Ball Super, how strong Roshi is. Roshi is powerful, but that old man from earlier who made the wish applauds his efforts. But inevitably, the Biomen get up and they use Bulma to threaten Roshi into compliance. And Roshi's taken. Oolong, still there, hidden, tells Goku what happened. Initially believes Roshi's abilities. He's not too concerned. Roshi can sort of handle himself, but is convinced when learning of what Oolong and Gohan had actually witnessed and done, and learning of Piccolo's disappearance, it's a bit more urgent, because obviously Piccolo's much stronger than Roshi. This is an issue. If Piccolo's missing, then okay, Roshi is in trouble. Again, better set up, because again, when Goku had learned in the last film where the Gohan had been captured, he somehow knew where Garlic Jr. was, where at least this time he knows because Oolong and Gohan saw it. So, better. Goku then goes to find them. Dr. Wheelo and this old man, who still hasn't been named yet, wants to test more of Roshi's abilities against 3 elite warriors who will then become, I think, Bio Warriors, I think is what they're called. Who also do the slow motion run from the first film, but at least it's on the ground, so it makes more sense. You know, it doesn't really matter too much that happens because they're not flying. So there is actually a need for them to run. Roshi attempts to fight them, showing exceptional skill. I was very impressed by his performance against them, but inevitably was overpowered and defeated. As Bulma reveals Roshi isn't the strongest on Earth, Bulma recognizes this old man, and we finally find out he's Dr. Kutchin. I wrote it wrong, I'm assuming, but it's pronounced like that, so I've wrote it like this. So apologies if there's any mispronunciation. The old man, Dr. Cutchin, despite Bulma having revealed he died, so it couldn't be him, and or Dr. Wheelo, neither of them should be alive, he's then revealed that yes, although they should have died, Dr. Wheelo's genius allowed them to survive. And revealing that the giant brain that has been shown, obviously I've mentioned it before, but it is Dr. Wheelo, but it's revealed there. Bulma then, once Wheelo gets impatient, asks who is the strongest. Bulma then reveals it's Goku. That he's the strongest fighter in the world, not Roshi. Wheelo wants him to take his body to rule the world and conduct all the experiments he wants to, as he feels like he wasn't appreciated in his time and was called a mad scientist undeservedly, even though they were conducting really morally wrong experiments. They then reveal, although Bulma is trying to say, you don't stand a chance against Goku, they reveal that they destroyed a village with this new weapon and turned it into ash, to show just how powerful they are. Even though after Saiyan Goku deflecting a planet-destroying event, I don't think a village would be too much to concern with, but there you go. But Goku then finally arrives, which, is very good for Wheelo because he wants Goku, so it's quite good timing. Is then revealed quickly after Goku starting to arrive that Gohan has run off to go and help Goku. Of which then Goku is told to try find his friends when asking where they are. Dr. Wheelo wants to see how strong Goku is. He immediately asks for the Bio Warriors to hunt Goku down. And this is a little bit of a grievance I have. Goku faced against 2 of the Bio Warriors at once, but not all 3. Roshi went against all 3. I would like to see how Goku did against all 3. Goku lost against 2 of them. Roshi lost against 3. Goku lasts longer, and then after he defeated the 2. Spoiler alert for this next bit, but it doesn't really matter. But, it's a bit of an issue on, okay, how strong is Roshi? How weak is Goku compared to when he was in the Saiyan arc? But then Goku immediately faces the first Bio Warrior, which is the yellow fat one that can absorb his attacks. As Goku dodges, he slips into the base and starts running into the lab/base technically. So if I say one or the other, you know what I mean. And runs into a room filled with spiked balls which try to attack him. Goku then destroys them all with ki blasts. Not too much of a difficulty for Goku. But the Bio Warrior catches up to him. So because none of Goku's attacks are working, Goku decides, you know what, I'm going to hit him as hard as I can, and fires into him. With the help of the Kaioken, then rips through the Bio Warrior and even rips to the second floor. So that Bio Warrior is defeated, and Goku is immediately met by the next Bio Warrior, which he then knocks out pretty quick. Not knocked out, but knocked away pretty quick. So then the third Bio Warrior quickly comes in to aid, which Goku struggles with, obviously 2v1, and this is my grievance with it. Goku shouldn't really be struggling against 2 if Roshi faced 3. But then Roshi didn't last nearly as long, so Goku goes on the attack and tries to, and initially looks like he's overwhelming the 2 Bio Warriors, but is then overwhelmed by the 2, being shocked by the third one, and the second one freezes him in ice. So Goku's completely immobile and pretty much defeated. Gohan then comes in to help and brought Krillin, which again is more informative because unlike in the last film when Krillin randomly showed up, at least we know Gohan was flying over. Gohan knows where Krillin lives. Gohan's grabbed Krillin to then help in this fight. Again, who knows because he's seen the base. All informative, all makes sense as to why they're here. So plot-wise, this film is way better than the first one. But time-wise, in the timeline, no, makes no sense. Um, Gohan and Krillin struggle against these Bio Warriors as the third one makes electrical whips and completely overpowers them, and the second one freezes them completely. Goku then gets mad, screams Kaioken to destroy the ice, and defeats the second and third Bio Warrior with ease. Like, it's not even a challenge, and again, just kind of aura farms himself, really. Again, showing Goku's care for Gohan and Krillin, showing how good of a guy he is. Goku goes then to break them out the ice. Dr. Wheelo is happy that Goku will be his, because obviously seeing that power, like, oh my god, I'm going to take over that body, like, that's going to be me, overpowered as out. So, it's just a little comment there, but it then cuts straight back. As the three go to find Roshi and possibly Bulma, it's just not mentioned that Bulma, but they're looking for Roshi. They find Bulma trapped in a barrier as Goku tries to help them, but then gets trapped. They finally encounter Wheelo as well, which is the first confrontation they will have. Just really talking for a long time as Wheelo's just attached to a wall. As Wheelo and Dr. I can't think of his name. I'm gonna have to check my notes, guys. This is bad. Dr. Kutchin. Dr. Kutchin and Dr. Wheelo defend their actions and their genius, as Wheelo then attempts to steal Goku's body or prepare it to be stolen. Gohan and Krillin then try to help, but then mind-controlled Piccolo intervenes to stop them. Again, makes sense. Piccolo was trying to be turned into a Bio Warrior. They were trying to turn Piccolo into a Bio Warrior, is what I meant. And Piccolo being there, being taken, it all makes sense as to why then Piccolo's evil here. Again, plot-wise, makes sense. Which Garlic Jr. did, in fairness, in the first film. Goku escapes, ripping the wires off, as Piccolo attacks Gohan. Then Piccolo and Goku, Piccolo and Goku begin to fight, because Goku actually loves his son in these movies and stops him. Goku notices the device during their fight, or whether I said that, but whether they were just bringing attention to the headwear so the audience knows, or Goku had actually noticed it. Goku then protects Gohan again from Piccolo. Again, great dad, as the fight then resumes. Krillin also now knows to get Bulma out, he has to cut the power. Which again, another plot that needs to be, Gohan tries to convince Piccolo again, and then he's nearly killed by Piccolo with a blast again for the third time, and Goku has to save him again. People say Goku's a bad dad. Not in the films. It's undeniable. He's a great dad in the movies. And Goku continues to fight, as Gohan then rages out and cracks the walls surrounding Wheelo. Dr. Kutchin decides, I find this funny, and starts to insult him, as Dr. Wheelo realizes the issue with this and tells him, no, don't do this, stop. But he continues to insult him, completely ignoring Dr. Wheelo's warnings, and tries to kill Gohan with a blast. Gohan then not only deflects this blast, he then destroys the entire base. Well, not the entire base, but cracks it even more, and even cracks the impact of his power, cracks Piccolo's mind control machine on his head. Wheelo then gets mad. Krillin threatens Dr. Kutchin to release Roshi and Bulma as he knocks Dr. Kutchin off balance. Dr. Kutchin then reveals his hand is actually robotic, and reveals cybernetic enhancements into a gun and tries to kill Krillin. Krillin is dodging, and then Dr. Kutchin accidentally hits the power supply, which frees the barrier. So then Dr. Kutchin tries to kill Bulma, as Roshi, who has been slowly climbing up throughout this film, drops down and destroys his arm. It is then shown that the mind control device on Piccolo is completely destroyed, is now free from mind control. Dr. Wheelo is now on the back foot, but finally reveals his giant robot body, whilst also killing Dr. Cochin in a very heartless manner. But, evil scientist. I'm seeing a little bit of parallels between Superhero and this film with the scientific enhancements and stuff. Possibly some inspiration Toriyama took, but I don't know. Of course, he already made androids, but I'm talking about just, the average villain, like the scientist doing some sort of enhancements, I think is probably a little bit inspired. Not stolen, but inspired. Like, Toriyama liked some of these ideas from these films, otherwise he wouldn't have made Super Broly. But anyways, Wheelo wants to forcibly take Goku's body, which again doesn't make sense. It kind of does, because Wheelo just doesn't want the robotic body. But if he wants the world's strongest, and he saw how strong Goku was, and wants to take that body, but is convinced he could beat that body anyways, why didn't you do that from the start then? And also, why then would you want another body? Even if it is a mess, couldn't you just refine it into a nicer body like what Gero did in the Android Saga? Although that didn't happen yet. But, there's instances in Dragon Ball where androids were human looking and were strong. So why didn't that happen? Why didn't he just do that? I'll never know, considering Dr. Cochin had that. He had the cybernetic enhancements. He was a complete robot on the inside. They could have just made him an artificial body. Just look human-like, but oh well. All the fighters have to team up to attack Wheelo, as Goku, Krillin, and Roshi do a combined Kamehameha, which fails. Beforehand, Piccolo goes to attack, which just fails. Wheelo quickly disposes of Roshi and Krillin. Gohan attempts to fight with the power pole, but is knocked out. Goku then grabs the power pole. Piccolo grabs Gohan and lays him down. Again, that's probably a bit more people saying, oh yeah, Piccolo's the dad, yeah. But Piccolo and Goku are the only ones left, who do pretty well as Goku trips Wheelo up with the power pole. Then Piccolo delivers a barrage of attacks, but again, Wheelo is unfazed, defeats Piccolo. Goku tries the Kaioken ×3, cuts off Wheelo's arm after an aggressive barrage, and begins the Kamehameha wave. Wheelo desperately reflects with his own blast, but Goku puts all of his power into this Kamehameha. He can't let Wheelo get away with this, and it engulfs Wheelo and destroys pretty much the rest of the base and lab. Wheelo is then knocked into space. Goku's damaged and tired, but he knows Wheelo's still alive, kind of like in the Saiyan Saga, except, yeah, he did know Vegeta was alive. He felt his power. Wheelo plans to destroy the planet as a failsafe since he can't defeat Goku. Which, again, if you wanted a body, the strongest person in the world, obviously he's prepared to lose to them, so then why? Again, bit questionable, some of this stuff. But I understand he's an evil mad scientist. A lot of what he does has no real sense. Goku then prepares the Spirit Bomb as the others are to run away and escape. Goku receives energy from all over the planet. Goku gains enough to form the Spirit Bomb, which I, from memory, thought that was the end of the film. But no, because Wheelo then attacks with multiple beams and knocks Goku out. And Wheelo then plans to destroy them like a meteor. So initially, he plans to fire a beam. He then goes to land like an asteroid to destroy the planet. But then Gohan flies up, enraged, to attack Wheelo. Piccolo even joins him. They both stop Wheelo in his tracks, pushing him back into the sort of outer atmosphere. They're not in space as much as people like to believe. It's kind of like the Bardock situation. then as they barrage him, Krillin then tries to fly up with a surprise attack, but then Willow smacks him away. And even Krillin makes the comment of, how come I can't even make one hit? Sorry guys, my nose is just really itchy. it's a horrible sight, I know. But then Willow is distracted, in rage, and just wants to destroy the Earth. Then say, right, you three, you tried, but it doesn't matter because I'm just going to take the Earth with me. As Goku then is shown to recover with the Spirit Bomb ready, as Willow then goes back to the beam decision. So he has 3 different ideas. So the first time he's getting powered up by this beam from his base to sort of create the beam to destroy the Earth. He then decides to do it a meteor style and then goes back to the beam. What are these ideas? Like, surely you only had the one way to destroy the planet. Surely that other one was just to kill the Z fighters. At least that's what I imagine. But Goku forms Spirit, obviously throws the Spirit Bomb, and then, you know, Willow is going to try and fire that strong beam. But again, like I said, at least the film remembered this. Willow being a village destroying or planet destroying, Goku has already passed that feat with the Saiyan arc, which happened in this film, which is confusing. But the beams collide. Well, not beams. Dr. Willow's beam, technically, but sort of in the shape of a ball. And the Spirit Bomb collide. The Spirit Bomb tears right through it and hits Dr. Willow, killing him and ending the fight. As you see the cracks of the brain case, and it breaking, so it ends. The heroes group back together to find Goku. Piccolo goes to leave. Goku goes to thank him and says you should thank Gohan. As the gang celebrates the victory, Piccolo disappeared, talking about how they would defend the Earth no matter what from any threat. That's it. Film then concludes. Now, I have my grievances with this film. The final attack is much better. In fact, I think I might change my rating, but the final attack was way better animated. It was rehashed animation, but still better animated than what Dead Zone had done. The plot was far better written. There was some issues. It was like the placement of things, why certain people were dressing the way they were, even though it didn't make sense for the time it was set. And then some of the ideas of the villains didn't make too much sense, but again, they were mad scientists. That wasn't really much of an issue, really. Unlike Garlic Jr., which had the logic and had quite a fun story, but didn't make much sense. And the end attack wasn't very well written. But everything had a reason in this film. So although it was better written, some things worse, it kind of levels out for me. And so I'm giving it, again, another 6 out of 10. So those two are tied so far. Next is Tree of Might. So, you know, when I do Tree of Might, make sure to stick in for that one. That one was one of my favourites as a kid, but then when I rewatched it like a year ago actually, I didn't really enjoy it. But I don't know, maybe reviewing it, I'll enjoy it more. This one, it was just about what I remembered. So who knows? I might get surprised. But the only way you find out is by checking in on the next video. So thank you for watching. And make sure you don't miss the podcast Ponderings with me and my brother. And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, follow and share with friends. Thank you guys. So long.